Hello, Alia.
Hello.
Why are you interested in this position?
I'm interested in this position because it adds to my professional experience, and I think the stated key responsibilities, tasks, and activities all resemble what I have done in the past.
Okay,
Also, it offers a great chance of training to their professional workers. So I'm interested in this part.
okay. And why are you leaving your current job?
I'm leaving my current job because I don't think that it adds any more value to my current situation. There's no progress professionally, and there's no intention for further development or training for their staff.
Okay. And why should we hire you?
Because my previous experience is all allocated in the same field you are seeking, especially when it comes to working in different departments like finance, HR, project management. I've worked in various departments. I saw in the job description that it's a requirement to have different backgrounds with excellent IT skills, which I have, along with the main HR responsibilities, which is the main core of my job.
Okay, thank you. Do you prefer working alone or as part of a team?
I prefer working as part of a team because it splits the time and effort on multiple individuals rather than have to endure all the pressure by myself. So I think it represents more quality, and when the pressure is split into many individuals, I think it provides more quality to the job.
All right. Will you be able to travel if the job requires you to?
I think I will be able to, but I need to have a further note, a prior notice to prior to the travel, so I can manage my personal life.
Okay. Are you aware of current employment law and equality legislation in the UK?
Not quite so. My previous experience involved working in abroad, not in the UK, but I can get familiar. I can study it further if the position of course, the position requires me to.
All right. Do you have any academic background in the area of human resource management?
Academic background. I took some courses in back in my bachelor. It was a management field, but I took some courses in human resource. But mainly, my strength in HR comes from my professional experience, not academically. But now I'm seeking a master's in human resource development, management and development that will enrich my academic field in this area.
Okay. Hypothetically speaking, you caught an employee engaging in a small breach of confidentiality. So,
Okay.
what is your reaction?
Can you repeat the question?
You caught one employee
Yeah.
engaging in a small breach of confidentiality.
Uh-huh.
What is your reaction?
I think to be a professional in this matter, I have to report this incident to his direct supervisor. report it professionally through an email or a written memo to his direct supervisor so he can take the necessary action.
Okay. So, what do you believe is an efficient method for enhancing performance of employees?
Enhancing performance of employees. I think one of the most important things is to have a healthy environment, healthy working environment, to stay away as much as possible from conflicts, and to work very hard on employees' motivation. Of course, motivation and leadership, they are confused. A manager should direct his leadership traits and motivate his employees to extract the best performance out of them.
Okay, thank you. And now the last question. We are considering restructuring of the marketing and sales department software system.
Okay.
We are not sure whose opinion should be taken under consideration in the decision-making progress. What do you suggest?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes. We are considering restructuring the marketing department's software system. And we are seeking for opinions. Whose opinion do you think matters the most?
Restructuring something in an organization resembles change management, in my opinion, because it affects employees from many aspects. So I think managerial level should be involved mainly in this subject by conducting surveys and of course taking opinions of the employees themselves, but it's the management or a manager role to implement this change into the organization by following a specific change management approach.
Okay. That's all, Alia. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, my observation. I would conclude that interview questions were handled again in a very traditional manner, not focused on the behavioral aspect as we were told. Interviewee Alia, as experienced HR officer, actually saved the situation a bit by offering sufficient answers that could help Athos as a hiring manager to assess if she possesses relevant skills and competencies. What do we do now?
Okay, so now I will interview you, Sanja, and Athos will be the observer. Okay, I will start with my first question. Sanja, do you consider yourself a team worker? Or do you prefer to work in a team or as an individual?
In principle, as part of the HR team, we are all team members. I'm very well-placed team player and very, I would say, determined individual, so I don't mind working either way. But in terms of the HR and the position that you are looking for, I would say that my team player skills would fit in.
Okay. What would you do if the work of another team member was not up to your expectation?
In principle, up to my expectation or up to the expectation of a task, I could give an example of a situation where you would rely on a colleague to deliver something, together with you as the outcome for the manager. If you have the colleague that seems distracted for whatever reason, in principle, I would approach him, talk to him to see what's the cause of distraction. Usually, well, in principle, I had a similar situation in my past, and the issue was misunderstanding of actual task, what has to be done. So I helped him to prioritize his task, and for 20 minutes, we managed to get over it, to deliver the results to our manager, and in the future to have a colleague who actually could rely on each other.
How would you manage your time when you have a deadline? In regard of prioritizing, how do you prioritize your tasks?
In a principle, well, all our daily work is matter of prioritization, how you would have, depending on a priority and impact it will have. So let's say I would put high priority, high impact as the first ones, lower impact, lower priority as the last task. That will give me sufficient time to deal with some extraordinary ad hoc things in between.
Okay. And if you made a mistake during your work, how would you handle the situation?
In a principle, I will first confirm that I've made a mistake, try to understand where my mistake came from, would inform my supervisor, see if there is a possibility of damage control, how we'll proceed together, what are solutions, where actually I made the mistakes, and what would be the way forward. Okay. But I would address the issue directly.
Have you encountered in your previous experience a situation where you had to take a risk or deal with a major change in the place of work?
Well, as an example, I can give my recent experience again, where we had a transition from combat mission into non-combat mission, where the whole priorities of a mission have changed, where the headcounts of population or manning, how we call it here, has decreased significantly. So what we had to do is to review the job descriptions, use structure change to manage. We will have less people, educate them, see which to, and then we'll change. In principle, communication would be the main thing for the change management.
Next, I'll ask you about communication. What if you couldn't, one of your colleagues whom you couldn't build relationships with, and you have to work with him on a certain task, but you couldn't build relationships with? How would you handle?
In a principle, again, I would go directly address the issue, because in our workplaces we are not to build up the friendships or any social interaction there. We'll keep it strongly professional, to the level that it does not affect his or her performance and performance of the whole team. So I would address and find a way how we can work together, what are the expected inputs and outputs, and that's it.
Have you, from your previous experience, encountered a situation of the need to satisfy an angry customer?
Angry customer could be, let's say, I had a situation recently where one of the majors came, I would say, angry to my office, requesting the immediate termination of one of his employees because he was late in the office. So as a first thing, what I did, I had calmed down the situation, asked him to lower his voice, to understand and to listen what was the issue, then try to obtain the information if he get in touch with the personnel to see if something happened on the work towards and so on. We couldn't establish the contact. So we have engaged some other departments to search for the person. And actually what happened is that person had a car accident on a way to the work, major was pissed because he was missed to his high-level briefing. So at the end, the situation turned out quite well. And again, communication, all listening and directing and engaging all other resources.
Great. Final question. Would you describe a situation where you were able to influence others positively within your working environment? Have you encountered any situation like this?
Positively influenced when I start working here. Our HR department had very negative image. Was not considered as the customer-oriented department, which was much more as the witch with a stick, chasing people and being reactive. What I try to do is to change the way how our office, our team would communicate, adjust the language to the employees, our customers, so they understand, so we do not take for granted or per se that somebody understands our complicated HR procedures and language and so on and so on. And as a result, we got very reduced number of disciplinary cases. So in the last 2 years, we don't have any, which means that our customers understood our policies and are not in a fear and see us as the service providers when they need to do something.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Sanja, for your time.
Thank you.
Athos?
Thank you, Alia.
Okay, my feedback is for the interview part. I like the questions. They were all relevant to the required competencies. You used practical scenarios that really showed how the interviewee would act on the job. And you touched a variety of subjects, and I liked it.
Thank you very much.
For the answers, Sanja has given some experienced answers, and she has practically given effective responses for all situations, even for the stressful situations.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we will move on now. For Sanja, you will interview Athos.
Good afternoon, Athos.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm good. You?
I'm trying to relax. You know how it goes on an interview. Ice-breaking question. So, Athos, I will have no more than, I think, 5-6 questions. And what I'm expecting, because I couldn't see much of the things from your CV, is to respond in a applying STAR formula, which is like situation, task, action you took, and result. What was the result? So questions would be quite general and in relation to the job description.
Okay.
So first question is, have you ever had to utilize resources of a different department to complete your project?
My work experience is based on accounting and audit. So the resources that we use are very similar for all the tasks that we do. So we didn't have a situation that we had to go outside of these lines.
But sometimes you may consult the legal department of your office. So.
Okay. What other resources I have used is that
from other departments.
Another department. Well, the laws for compliance are getting stricter in our profession. So the firm that I work at, they decided to develop our compliance policies. So I had to take on that role. And so I am visiting customers and doing all the anti-money laundering work that was not done before by anyone in the firm.
Okay, thank you. So teamwork question: if somebody on your team, so you are the junior auditor and there is senior auditor, doesn't do his part of a job, how do you handle that situation?
Okay, I will go talk to him personally because at the moment I'm not at a senior position, but I will give it one try to talk to him personally. The next time I'm going to discuss it with our supervisor. But if this would happen while I was on the role of the HR officer, things would be different, because if one employee is given a task to perform and he does not do it, then he has to have consequences in order to comply.
But he's your team member.
All right. Sorry.
But he's your team member, and you have to deliver the final product together.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't hear that part. If he is my team member, we'll have to assess the timeline that we have to deliver the project. And if there is no time to get involved in discussions or referencing to supervisors, then we will have to do the work, complete the project on time, and when the project is delivered, then we can deal with it.
Okay, thank you. Can you describe any time that you came across the task given by your boss that you find inappropriate?
Yes. As an auditor, I have to use evidence to support the accounting records that our customers provide to us. And there has been a situation that we should proceed. We were given orders to proceed with the work, even though there was no evidence, and I was very suspicious of some weird activity going on. And I went to my manager's office and we discussed it. And even though in the beginning he told us to do something else, he understood that we cannot go on and take on the risk of breaking the legislation because of just the revenue that we would get from that client. And so we changed the way that we work with that client.
Okay, thank you. Can you describe your typical work day? How do you schedule your time? How do you set the priorities, deal with the unforeseen circumstances?
Okay. First of all, I like to plan ahead. I like to have a rigid plan ahead of me for the next days of my week. And the plan is based on my priorities, which are first my job, that I need to go there, and not only go there, but to perform at my best. And then it's my master's course. And if something comes up, I will arrange to let go of some of my other things to do, like hobbies or rest, in order to perform well these tasks.
So if you would put that in the context of the HR officer work?
Sorry?
If you would put it in the context of an HR officer, just invent some scenario. You come there, how you would set your priorities.
Okay, my priorities would be to make sure that the strategy of the company is being followed.
I'll just lead you a bit there. Unforeseen, let's say, you coordinate the safety training, and all of a sudden there is the epidemic of flu, and 70% of those that were supposed to attend the training and report to the work have not shown up in here.
Okay, so one team member had the flu and did not show up at work?
No, it's like 70% of them had the flu.
Yes.
And you are just about, you finalize your coordination of training and so on.
First of all, I would consider if there is a possibility to extend the deadline date. So, in order to avoid losing some quality of the project, and if that's not possible, then me and the other 30% should work overtime until we finish the project. Also, if there is availability, we would borrow some members from other teams, or maybe even outsource professionals.
Okay. What have you done to improve your relations with your customers? Can you give us one example?
Yes. What I've done is that there are some customers in our field of work that are very, let's say, rude, because one of our responsibilities is doing their taxes. So when you say to someone about their taxes, they get pissed off all the time. So I had to adjust my perception on this, and also my behavior. And by doing this, I have managed to keep my clients, and they are happy to stay with me.
Well done. And the last one for me would be, what strategies would you apply or utilize to maintain the confidentiality if you're under the pressure by others to reveal the information?
Sorry, can you repeat it, please?
What strategies would you utilize to maintain confidentiality when pressured by others? How you would deal with the pressure?
Confidentiality.
Example.
Okay, because I didn't hear you very well. So the question was confidentiality about my person or about the people that I work with?
Well, you are pressured by somebody to reveal some confidential information.
Okay.
How would you protect that? Which strategy you would utilize? Let's say you are now HR officer, and somebody wants to take or under using the pressure to get some confidential or in confidence medical records of one employee.
Okay. Confidentiality is one issue that I am very strict, and that's also in my life, but especially in my job. There is a rigid line that cannot be exceeded. I would make it clear from the very beginning that confidentiality is highly valued in this organization, and there is no possibility that I would break that. line, and I would also make it clear with by using policies in the workplace that any form of breach of confidentiality will result in immediate termination of employment and maybe legal action.
Thank you. That's all from me.
Thank you.
Okay, I think the questions were very related to the behavioral side of the interview. With some general questions, I think because of the nature of Athos' CV, which didn't have a lot of HR-related experience, his whole experience was in auditing. But I think the questions were structured in a way that can resemble how he might react in similar situations, which will be very beneficial to the job role. For Athos, I think he was able to reflect his experience, even though it was not related to the HR experience, but he was able to reflect his general experience in auditing and reflected in the HR side to give a good example of what he can do, of what he can add to the role that is to the role of HR officer.
I would even hire Athos.
Sorry?
I said I would even consider hiring you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah. I really liked the way how you answered the question.
Yes.
When you came across the task that was inappropriate. That was the excellent for me. Well, in my understanding of this, applying the start, station, action taken, and result. Well done.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so we are done. We'll have to do those papers, yeah?